for our final episode of season 3 of Remake This Movie Right, we wanted to do something special. We wanted to take on a movie unlike any other. Something unique. Something that's beloved by no one, anywhere. And that is The Room. I'd love to tell you what the movie is about, but I'm still not quite sure. What I am sure of is this is a great episode and a perfect way to end season 3 of Remake This Movie Right. It might be the perfect way to end Remake This Movie Right entirely. This would make a fantastic series finale. And if you've never seen this movie, trust me when I say it does not matter. This is a really bad movie. It's universally known as one of the worst movies of all time. And it's time fans rework the script to make it something interesting? I don't know. You're going to have a great time. I know that. And we've got one more episode yet this season where we're going to recap our favorite trailers and talk about the show as we wrap up season 3. But right now, it is time to get into it. It is time to get into Johnny and Lisa and Mark and find out what's really going on in The Room. Guys, let's remake this movie right. Guys, it's not true. I did not hit Brian. I did not! Oh, hi, my fellow cinematic architects, and welcome to Remake This Movie Right. We are a member of the Hollywood Outsider Network. Listen to episodes of Remake This Movie Right on Apple Podcasts, where reviews are appreciated, your podcast app of choice. Spotify, we are officially now on Spotify, or you can just visit the website at remakethismovieright.com. Remake This Movie Right is a show that takes an original film that has an actual remake in the works, or a really big spoof about it, figure out what still clicks and what doesn't, throws a little bit of humor at it, and then we determine exactly how Hollywood should remake it. So by the end of each episode, by the end of this episode, we will have the remake ready to roll for Hollywood execs and presented to you in movie trailer form. We are here to tell Hollywood how to remake The Room right. Oh boy. You heard her on our Flatliners, The Birds, Wild Wild West episodes, Amanda Sink.
Hello.
And returning from Remake Exile, you heard him on Gremlins, Pet Sematary, and our very, very first episode, Weird Science, Mr. Brian Williams.
Hey, buddy. Good to be back.
What you been doing?
Just, listen to all these podcasts you guys have been cranking out lately.
You haven't. You're a liar.
Sitting at home playing video games.
I was trying to make you feel good, though.
I appreciate that. Lies to make me feel good. Well, guys, it was us three that first garnered a mention in the AV Club, so we're essentially getting the Dream Team back together.
We are the Dream Team.
Virtual high fives all around.
What was that?
That's the virtual high five noise.
Sounds like a noise that would be in the room.
That's better than anything that was in this movie.
In the bedroom.
Oh, how you doing?
Hey!
Oh, do we have a treat for you? Because for our final regular episode of the season, we decided you can't remake this movie right and not touch one of the worst films of all time, The Room. So we are going to remake The Room right. What is The Room about? You are probably asking. That is a great question. We still don't know. But it's long considered, like I said, one of the worst movies of all time, and soon to be the subject of a dramatization and the disaster artist starring and directed by James Franco. And The Room follows a successful banker in Johnny. He has an attractive fiancé named Lisa. You know that because he says her name every chance he gets, and who apparently is super bored with him because she seduces his best friend Mark. They begin an affair all while Lisa plays it cool and lunges toward their wedding date. It all comes crashing down at a birthday party where Lisa decides to make out with Mark where everybody's hanging out, humiliating Johnny and prompting Johnny to destroy everything in his house except the tape recorder and eventually kill himself. Shock and awe.
That movie was something.
Yeah, you guys had never watched this gem before, either one of you. And Brian, you're the longest holdout. You haven't been here in the longest amount of time. So I'm going to start with you. What did you think once you finally got to step foot into The Room?
Yeah, I felt like I was in an early 90s made-for-cable movie.
Like where Shannon Tweed was going to come out at any minute?
Right. Yeah, at any given time, right. It's weird because it's 2003 when this came out. So it just felt out of place.
Yeah, and for some people, it's really hard to find if you don't own it. And why would you own it? Scott Clark. But But if you're looking for it, it is available. You can find YouTube. Search for YouTube, The Room full movie. You'll find it somewhere. You know.
Yeah, they have a quick little synopsis video that has the best moments of The Room if you feel like not watching the whole thing.
You can find the whole movie on there, too.
That's a lot of time.
I hear. Amanda, what about you? What did you think the first time you watched it? You've watched it twice since you, I don't know why. You only had to watch it one time.
The first time I watched it, I was actually having a live conversation with one of my friends who had already seen it and knew all of the backstory and knew how tragically terrible this film was. Or I'm not even going to call it a film, this movie. And so I was having this really...
What's the difference between film and movie?
Film is like actual art.
Oh, okay.
Something that's substantially good. Or at least mediocrely good.
Film gives it too much credit.
Absolutely. So I was having this conversation with one of my friends, and it was way too entertaining for me to actually focus on doing notes for this show. So I had to actually go back and rewatch it with more critical eye and try to find something that was good in the movie that I enjoyed.
Good for you. That's harder than it seems.
That's a pretty blank sheet of paper, isn't it?
It is. I was just going to say, I didn't find anything. So I felt a lot of regret after watching it twice. I felt it after the first time, but I at least had humor to get me through the first viewing. But the second time, it just went all downhill. All downhill.
And I had a blast.
It's hilarious.
Yeah, I feel bad for Brian because I watched it with people. It sounds like you watched it with people. Poor Brian had to watch it by himself. That's just the sad state.
Did you drink a lot?
Yeah, I did. I basically sat there with a pizza and some beer and just was like, "There's not enough beer in the liquor store for this movie."
We should have mailed you a bottle of alcohol for this.
Oh gosh.
Oh man, should have hit the old moonshine. It would have been
spice it up.
The funny part about this movie is I had actually I'd seen pieces of it. I'd never seen the whole movie until I was at a party and I watched it. I mentioned Scott Clark, who's co-host of the Hollywood Outsider with me, and he owns it. So we actually went over there to watch it with him because he owns it. I just want to say it one more time. He paid money to own a copy of this thing.
He made an effort to go out and obtain this movie.
Right. If ever there's a good reason to bootleg something, this is probably it.
Wait. So there is, with each DVD copy that you get of this film, Tommy has a photograph of himself on one side of this paper. And on the other side, you get a link with the description to go on a website and purchase underwear from Tommy. There's a whole website dedicated to this. So if you haven't bought the DVD, it's worth it. He writes his own synopsis on the sheet.
Who is Tommy? People want to know who
Tommy is. He's the main guy. He's the one. He's
main guy, director, producer, written by, edited by.
Starring.
Ass shots, everything.
Oh, man. So Tommy, I don't even know how to say his last name.
Wiseau?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Something none of us care to learn about.
Mm-hmm.
So he has his own underwear website, which is still, I did check, it is still active. It actually works. And you can still purchase items. And there's also a really, really terrible synopsis that's available in the DVD copy that he clearly wrote, had nobody edit. And it's a miracle that anybody approved for this to go through at all.
Wow. Well, that's a fun fact. And I want to thank you for sharing that. This is going to be so much fun. All right. Well, guys, please subscribe and review us on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, whatever, Spotify, whatever podcast app you use. If you have your own pitch or thoughts on this week's show, you can email us at remakethismovieright@gmail.com. Here's a clip from the original, The Room.
Hi.
Can I help you?
Yeah, can I have a dozen red roses, please?
Oh, hi, Johnny. I didn't know it was you. Here you go.
That's me. How much is it?
It'll be $18.
Here you go. Keep the change. Hi, doggy.
You're my favorite customer.
Thanks a lot. Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, we are back, and that is Tommy Wiseau that said hi, doggy, in that clip. You just heard it. Are you guys ready for some trivia? And my God, is there so much trivia.
I cannot wait.
Here we go. First thing, you got to know, the budget for The Room was $6 million.
Where'd it go?
Million.
There was somebody that was missing from set a lot, and I'm sure that's the guy that just, swindled out probably $5.5 million of that.
Right. I'm like, did they have mountains of blow in the background or what? Oh man! According to Greg Sestero, one of those, Tommy Wiseau submitted the film to Paramount, hoping to get them as the distributor. Usually it takes about 2 weeks to get a reply. The film was rejected within 24 hours.
That sounds about right. Yep.
That's longer than I would have gave it. Yeah. All right. According to Greg Sestero, again, he states in his book, The Disaster Artist, which is what the movie is based on, Tommy Wiseau took 32 takes to say the lines, "I did not hit her. It's not true. It's BS. I did not hit her. I did not. Oh, hi, Mark." He needed cue cards for this.
I'm sure he did.
I did not hit her. It's not true. I did not hit her. This is BS. Oh, hi, Mark. See, I just did it without even looking. And he took 32
Have
times.
you seen or read any of his quote-unquote talent?
Come on. Let's not rip on the guy's talent. I mean, okay, we can. It's very All right, the movie's shot simultaneously on 35mm film and high-definition video. Tommy Wiseau was confused about the difference between the formats, so he used both cameras on the same mount. He also purchased the cameras instead of renting them as film productions usually do. Now, I'm saying that not as like a knock, and I know a lot of people are saying, well, what an amateur, he didn't know what he was doing. Yeah, but I think that's kind of pointing out that he didn't know what he was doing. He was just trying to make his movie. I actually kind of admire that aspect of it. He was doing what so many of us film buffs dream of doing, and we just never find a way to do it. He
or
got
found
the money.
$6 million to do it.
Nobody gave me $6 million. I didn't have a script either. I mean, and apparently I didn't know you didn't need one. So all these years I wasted.
Yeah, it's not a requirement.
Here's my favorite. Brian, this is going to be your favorite part too. According to that book, Tommy Wiseau insisted on having his bare bottom filmed. I have to show, quote, "I have to show my ass or this movie won't sell," was his reasoning.
That's kind of how I do at work. You know, just I gotta show my ass, or you know what, this job's just not going to get done.
Turns out it's a big thing in Hollywood right now. Too close? I don't know. There's a billboard for the film that was erected on Highland Avenue in L.A. where it stayed for 5 years. The same billboard was used to promote the book, The Disaster Artist, about the film's making.
Do you know what the original screenplay or script had in it?
A story?
No.
Exactly.
They apparently...
Construction paper and pictures drawn by crayons?
That's exactly what it had in it. That's exactly it. So in the original, and this I learned this through a conversation with one of my friends, so I haven't actually researched it.
So
but
this could be a total lie.
He seems pretty well knowledged in this.
All right, well, we're based in this.
And I'm going to read this message to you verbatim. Spoiler alert, the main character is not a vampire and does not have a flying car. But apparently that was in the original script.
Yeah.
So yes.
That's one of my facts that I was coming to.
Oh, yeah. Fantastic. I'm just beating you to it.
You are. Okay, here's Amanda's vampire thing. According to Sestero, Greg Sestero, who plays Mark. Oh, hi, Mark. Tommy Wiseau intended for the film to contain a subplot in which Johnny was revealed to be a vampire, due to Wiseau's own fascination with the creatures. Sestero recounts how at the outside of production, Wiseau tasked members of the crew with figuring out a way to execute a sequence in which Johnny's Mercedes-Benz would lift off the roof of the townhouse and fly across the San Francisco skyline, revealing Johnny's vampiric nature. Wiseau eventually decided to drop the subplot after learning that there was no practical way to film the flying car scene on the production's budget.
The $6 million budget that wasn't utilized.
They had a green screen roof for no reason. That seems like a great opportunity to film a flying car.
It just gets more ridiculous as we go on.
I'll be honest. That would make it a cooler movie. I'm not going to lie. Flying vampires in a car? Yeah, I'm in it.
Yeah, I mean, but this is one of those movies where you're waiting for that moment the whole time to where you just throw up whatever you've got in your hands, you know, just kind of just toss it up in the air and just say, okay, that's it, I'm tapping out. That would have been that moment. That would have been that, okay, wait a minute. There's not been any hints of vampirism or flying cars this whole damn movie, and now all of a sudden here Dracula's flying away. So,
honestly, I wouldn't even be surprised. There's so many random
there is that. Yeah.
plots that are happening in this film that never tie together and never make any sense. So anything can happen in this film.
He just turned to the camera and says, "Oh, look, I'm high, Mark." Ba-dum-bum. Psh. After filming the first love scene, Tommy Wiseau decided to write in a second love scene, but the actress playing Lisa was uncomfortable. I would be too. As a compromise, the second love scene between Johnny and Lisa was created from unused shots from the first love scene, which is why the candles are already lit when they arrive. I would argue they use the exact same shots.
Yeah.
This is like the worst, most basic white people porn scenes that you've ever seen in your life.
I mean, he's rubbing on her nowhere near her area where he should be. And it was just odd. I'm like, what are you doing down there? That's not the location you should be.
The whole thing
it was still better than the love scene with Mark, because Mark has got these smiling, and his lips are closed together, and you hear him making these loud moans that make no sense. You're like, wait a minute, you're not even in the room. How are you moaning yet? I don't.
And I think his pants were up the whole time.
His pants were on while he's apparently thrusting into her on the stairs.
It's romantic love.
Yeah.
So funny.
It's something.
And although the rooftop scenes were shot with green screen, an actual rooftop was available, just never used during filming.
Oh, of course, because that would be logical.
Yeah, we wouldn't want to do that.
They probably bought that. That's probably where the money went.
That's so funny.
All of the money was invested in buying that rooftop that they didn't use.
Oh, I'm almost in tears already.
Yeah.
All right, so here's the big challenge. Okay, Amanda, you said you searched. Did you find anything? What do you like about the original? What works? What you got? Anything?
Well, for a remake, it gives you a lot of opportunities. As I mentioned, there are a lot of storylines that make no sense and lead nowhere. So it gives you a lot of opportunity to come up with something more creative for a remake.
What do you like about the original?
I'm trying to avoid that.
Okay.
Because there isn't an answer. There is a lot of terrible
All
everything.
right.
So,
Brian, what about you? What do you like about the original? Is there anything you can pull positive from it?
There are a couple of the actors that have acting sensibilities. I'm not going to say they were good actors or actresses, but
the mother.
they were. No, not the mom. Mark actually had moments where he wasn't as bad as the others. And maybe the girlfriend, Lisa's girlfriend, she seemed to have a hint of talent also.
Michelle, Robin Paris. I actually liked her. I really liked her. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, there's really not much to really like. I did get a kick out of the mother, though. I mean, in her conversations with her daughter, how flippant they were about everything from breast cancer to spousal abuse.
And you never, ever heard of the breast cancer again. Ever.
So just let you know, I got the results in, and yep, it's official. I got breast cancer. Oh, well, you're going to be okay. So, okay. I just don't want to talk about it right now. Okay, bye. Love you. Tinkle, tinkle on your nose. The little nose wiggle. Okay, bye-bye.
Okay, well, I got three things. Three positive things, legitimately positive things.
I'm impressed.
I wish you would have passed two of them to me and Amanda.
Yeah, can we each get one?
The first one is, and I mean this sincerely, I kind of dug like the Full House opening that they had going on.
What?
With the San Francisco. And like, you know what I'm talking about, Brian? It was absolutely Full House opening.
It was the same houses. Yeah.
It was great. I'm like, where's David Coulier and John Stamos? They should be bouncing on those houses any minute. I liked that. Second, okay, so I know everybody loves to pick on Tommy Wiseau, and I think probably rightfully so. I've seen him in interviews, and he seems to feel like he made something artful. And hey, it's his work. Nobody sets out to make something terrible. And I think it's really easy to trash this movie. But I will say I admire the guy. He did find a way to get his movie made. And
absolutely.
How many armchair critics can say that? Tons of people. We pick people apart all the time. But he actually went out and got it done.
Yeah, he had a goal, he had a dream, and he did it.
Well, that is because, as you both know, he is the next Tennessee Williams.
Is that what he said?
Yes. He claims as such.
Well, he's wrong there. Well, and that goes to my other point. His own arrogance, I think, got in his way. But he did make, like we say, he went out, made his movie, and he made it happen. And it has actually been profitable. So in the terms of film business, he actually has made a profit off this movie.
Maybe he can send Scott Clark a thank you card.
Yeah. Thanks, Scott. You made this guy think this movie was good.
Somebody somewhere bought the underwear. Someone did.
And third, I think there's legitimately a story in here. One that I think can be expanded on. The tragedy of love gone wrong. I'm watching it going, I mean, I kind of get what he's going for. He just doesn't have, I mean, what's the word? Talent.
There's very much a story here. It's very much King Arthur-ish.
Yeah, there you go. The vampire thing would have made it really weird.
Yeah. But I mean, you got this guy. He's pretty much king of this little area, this condo area or whatever. And his best friend's banging his girlfriend, his wife, soon-to-be wife, whatever. There's King Arthur elements.
Well, and then you have the drug dealer thing with Denny. So there's another storyline that's available to you.
Yeah.
Sure. Pretty sure he was handicapped.
I don't know. I don't know if he was a child.
Well, he said that
he
said he was supposed to be. He had a disability, like he was mentally impaired. I'm like,
I mean, that's kind of what I thought.
That
would explain why I thought it was Chris Kattan the whole time.
It was so odd. I'm like, maybe he could have like
kept expecting him to break into Mango or.
It was a little extreme. All right. So what doesn't work? We've had a lot of fun with it, but what doesn't work that we haven't already talked about?
Oh,
Brian, you go first. Amanda's already had plenty of time.
The dialogue is really the worst thing of this. Nobody seemed to speak in a normal human fashion, and I don't understand how nobody ever said, "Hey, Tommy, time out here." That's not how people respond to this comment. People don't go from I didn't hit her. Oh, hi, Mark. And then you act like, oh, he's acting so funny, and let's toss the football, and now you're crying, and oh, you're going to be okay. And nobody does that. That's the kind of thing that just really, you just scratch your head the whole time going, how are these people, I don't know, doing this?
Do you think some of that has to do with the language barrier? Because obviously English is not his first language. I mean, so he thought people talked
I think so, but I think that there should have been somebody. I mean, I understand ego, I do, but at some point somebody should be going, "Hey, look, Tommy, no, your story and everything, you're fine, but let's put these words in this order and pause a little bit now. Hey, I'm famous for pausing, but let's, maybe I should have helped him with this.
Maybe you should have. Your pauses are definitely could have
legendary.
Yes.
Yep. So my epic pauses with his lack of them, it might have made this movie a little bit more tolerable.
That's true. Pause. I mean, there's stuff worse than that, Brian. What about playing football in tuxedos? I mean, that's just something that was weird.
Speaking of football, it was, to me, which was weirder than that, is there's four guys that's all in about 6 square feet of each other tossing the football.
Nobody plays football like that.
Right. and then Mark hits the other guy in the stomach with the football very gently, really, and he caves like an NBA player who's trying to draw a foul and collapses into the trash can. This guy's kind of a buff dude compared to everybody else. So that was just a weird scene.
That was weird.
So the sex scenes definitely don't work for me. They're terrible. They're awful. They were unnecessary.
I mean, there's about a 40% I can get behind. The rest of it, not so much. Yeah.
Can we talk about why Denny felt the need to sit in on the sex? Like why he was a part of the bed. Why'd you hop in there, bro? Why are you there?
Why are they okay?
Well, like you
with
said,
it?
I just like to watch you guys.
Yeah. He does. And then Tommy's line was actually pretty funny to me because he's talking about, I get it, you guys want to be alone. And he goes, that's the idea. I'm like, man, he friend zoned this guy so easy for her. So the dialogue, as Brian mentioned, is pretty terrible. But to make fun of, it's pretty hilarious. I do enjoy making fun of it. I don't understand why there are so many different plot lines. So that to me, nothing works together. The love entanglement and the passion and the betrayal, I get that. But you have so many other variables happening in this movie that just didn't need to be there because they were not relevant whatsoever.
There's like an hour of movie that doesn't matter to the rest of the movie. Like I think it's like 20 minutes in till the birthday party. None of that affects anything else that happens. Yeah,
basically. And why does he goes to pick up those flowers and he's carrying them upside down. Who walks out with flowers upside down? You just paid $18 for flowers and you're just going to
I would
toss them around?
Totally.
No,
I didn't buy them for me, so I don't care what direction they're facing.
Just so much in this movie did not work. Denny did not work for me. In terms of a laughable film, a film to just make fun of, it's fantastic. It is the best worst movie I've seen. But in terms of an actual movie, pretty much everything is just a downer.
You brought up the sex scenes. I just want to point out again that they use the same sex scene twice. Like nobody's going to notice. It's the same angles almost.
His thrusts don't match his moans. Nothing
doesn't match the general area of where thrust should be either.
Sometimes they're clothed when they're having sex and moaning.
This is gonna.
I didn't know the armpit was such an erogenous zone.
This is gonna sound like a mean one, and I don't mean it mean. I really don't, because I wish I was in as good a shape as this guy is when he made this movie. But he's got like a weird body. Like in certain angles, I'm like, hey, he really works out. Like he's a ripped guy. In other angles, I'm like, he needs to be spackled and buffed out a little bit. Get what I'm saying? I don't know if that's a fair thing to say.
Well, it probably didn't help that he's probably seems to be at least 20-something years older than everybody else.
Yeah.
No one knows how old he is. That's the other weird thing. Nobody knows when he was born. There's an estimate online of what dates he could have been born between, but his birth date is not known.
So he's like a vampire.
That's probably where he gets the idea.
There's that vampire.
Oh my God, it's all coming together.
Isn't this all very peculiar to everyone? Where did he get how did he get this money? Where did the money go? How old is he? There's so many questions I have left that are lingering, and not even just from the movie.
How many bad facelifts has he had?
Why are they in tuxedos? And the scene at the diner, and they're talking randomly. Is so how's your sex life, Mark? I'm like, what? What does that have to do with anything? It's so weird.
My favorite and also least favorite is when Mark is talking about how a woman was like brutally beaten or sexually assaulted or something, and he just puts his hands behind his head. Ha ha ha! What a story, Mark. What? Dracula, where did you come from, first of all? And second of all, that's not a great story. He must be enjoying Hollywood right now.
I think the one thing that bugged me story-wise, really bugged me, is that she comes up with this random story out of nowhere that he beat her. Which, okay, I get it. She's trying to pull the pity card and push people against him or whatever because people like him. But everybody she tells doesn't seem to care at all that she's getting her ass whooped.
Especially her mother.
Especially her mother. She's like, hey, I got breast cancer. Let's talk about me.
She's like, he's getting a promotion. You should stay.
She's like, look, he spends a lot of money on you, and you're not going to do any better anytime soon. So you might want to stick with him.
Yeah.
He's a wonderful person, and he's getting a promotion soon.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So just take it, Tina. Okay. Well, anything else you want to talk about this movie before we move on to the remake portion? Anybody?
Man, just watch it if you haven't seen it, or if you want to rewatch it for whatever reason before The Disaster Artist comes out. Watch it with a group of friends.
Don't watch it alone like sad, lonely Brian.
Yeah. Get a lot of liquor.
I couldn't pay people to come watch this movie.
Did you ask anybody?
I mentioned it to a couple of people, and they were like, no, never heard of it.
Brian's kind of like when I ask him to be on a podcast. No, I'm busy.
Well, what are you doing? Washing my hair, but you're bald. Wait. That means it's that much harder.
Gotta scrub it.
I gotta find it.
All right. Anything else? Nothing? Okay. So should this movie even be remade, or should it be placed in don't touch status? Brian, what do you think?
Absolutely don't touch it.
Seriously?
Seriously. What makes this movie unique is that, this guy tried so hard to make this movie, and he failed so miserably. He tried to go one direction and then went the opposite direction so far he actually came around to
success.
To actually achieving his goal. Yeah. He actually achieved his goal. He just didn't do it in the way that he probably anticipated. He made a hit on some level that people are still talking about his movie 15 years later.
Making fun of him, but yeah, he's still getting sales.
But we're talking about it. We're not.
Right.
How many movies are out there that are with big name people and are done fairly well that we're not, they're just, maybe that movie's sitting on your shelf somewhere or in your video on demand box or something like that, or that you'll never watch again, even though it might have been a good movie or a decent movie.
Well, and part of the magic of this film, if you will, is how ridiculous the backstory is that's attached to the film. It's not even just the movie. It's not even just how bad the movie itself is and how
it's the real life part of it.
It. Oh man. And I think it's just one of those movies that will go down in history as one of the best worst movies, and it'll keep people talking.
So what was your answer to remake it?
Well, I mean, anybody can remake it and do any story better than this, but I guess it could go either way. You could leave it.
I would disagree with that. I don't think anybody could. I've seen a lot of very, very poorly made movies. Yeah, I really don't agree with that. I think somebody could make this worse. They'd have to try.
So is it in Don't Touch for you?
No, remake it.
Get it gone.
Let's do it. No, I mean, this one will still be there, and nobody will be able, like Brian said, that nobody will come close to the epic disaster that this was. There is something I admire. I'm not being sincere, man. I admire the guy because he did get out and get it done. So, part of me says don't touch it just because, you know what? This is like his little moment. He's never going to become a real filmmaker. He's just not. That opportunity is probably gone. But he'll always have this mark. And he's achieved it. So to some degree, I agree with Brian. But I also think I do believe there's a story in here that could be good. And I think he was on to an interesting story. He just needed to give up some of the reins. And he wasn't willing to do that. Arrogance will get you every time.
Also, did I miss something? What is the room? What room? Which
Nobody
room are we
knows.
talking about?
I guess.
Are we talking about the living room, the bedroom? The bedroom where the two same-sex scenes happen? Are we
Death
talking
room, probably.
the death room? Okay.
Maybe.
Well, I mean, I'm just trying to figure out what room it is and what happened, where this is even coming from. Not to be
I'm just
confused
kind
with
of
the room.
going with the just so I don't have to think about it very much. Just the living room where 80% of the movie takes place.
There we go. On the $6 million set.
Where was this shot? The room.
The room that people just walk in and out of, come in, have sex on my couch, just don't, oh, yeah, oh, you're so funny. Yeah, you didn't have any underwear on. You were getting it on my couch. Oh, all right, that's good.
I still
That's
can't
funny,
believe
Mark.
The birthday party just cracks me up. Hey, guys, run outside real quick. All right,
Yeah.
let's get it on right now. Let's do it. Are you crazy? No, let's get it on. I don't get it. All right, here's one more clip from the room.
I did not hit her. It's not true. It's bullshit. I did not hit her. I did not. Oh, hi, Mark.
Oh, hey, Johnny, what's up?
I have a problem with Lisa. She said that I hit her.
What? Well, did you?
No, it's not true. Don't even ask. What's new with you?
Well, I'm just sitting up here thinking, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
You think girls like to cheat like guys do?
What makes you say that?
I don't know. I'm just thinking.
I don't have to worry about that because Lisa is loyal to me.
Yeah, man, you never know. People are very strange these days. I used to know a girl. She had a dozen guys. One of them found out about it, beat her up so bad she ended up in a hospital on Guerrero Street.
What a story, Mark.
Yeah, you can say that again.
I'm so happy I have you as my best friend, and I love Lisa so much.
Yeah, man. Yeah, you are very lucky.
Well, maybe you should have a girl, Mark.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe I have one already. I don't know yet.
Well, what happened? Remember Betty? That's her name?
Betty?
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't see each other anymore. She wasn't any good in bed. She was beautiful, but we had too many arguments.
That's too bad. My Lisa is great when I can get it.
Oh, man, I just can't figure women out. Sometimes they're just too smart. Sometimes they're flat out stupid. Other times they're just evil.
It seems to me like you're an expert, Mark.
No, definitely not an expert, Johnny.
What's bothering you, Mark?
Nothing, man.
Do you have some secrets?
Forget it.
Why don't you tell
Why?
me? Come
Forget
on.
it, dude.
Is it some secret?
No,
Tell me.
forget
Come
it.
on.
I'll talk to you later.
Well, whatever.
Okay, now since there is no remake in the works, thank God, but there is a docudrama about it coming out called The Disaster Artist, based off Greg Sestro's book. He played Mark, by the way, if I didn't say that already. And this film stars James Franco, Dave Franco, and Seth Rogen. So I'm kind of hoping for like a Pineapple Express 2 is what I'm hoping for, but I don't think it's going to happen. And since we as fans always think we know the best way to do this, how should Hollywood remake it? All selections are settled by a best of 3 vote, with each host receiving 1 cut per episode to be used whenever they are extremely passionate about an idea. Are you guys ready to try to build this movie and remake it right?
Hell yeah.
Wow, you sound excited. All right, so we're going to basically give our 3 mini pitches, and then we're going to figure out a direction to go, and then we're going to craft our movie. So, Brian, Do you have an idea what kind of movie you want to tell?
Absolutely. Now, I don't have it all fleshed out. I figured I'd give us a good starting point, and we can kind of build off of that.
Okay.
But my idea is we're going to change up the location a little bit. San Francisco is a beautiful city. It's one of my favorite cities. I love it. However, we're going to put this in a different place. We're not even going to be on this planet.
Oh, Brian.
Goodness.
We're going to have a space station. And I don't mean like this is Russian space station. Think more like the Jetsons. All right. So the room is going to be this big, kind of an open floor plan type of thing, glass dome looking thing. And the horrible special effects that permeate the original version so much will translate into this with the spacey background, maybe meteors flying by, Denny or the equivalent of Denny as two people are talking. He just talking. They're standing there, sitting there. Denny just comes in and he just floats by. Why does he have zero gravity when everybody else is on the ground? Why? I don't know. But that's just how it is.
Okay.
I need a minute.
Do you have more than that?
That's all we need
Do
is
I
Denny
need more
floating
than
by.
Do you really want more than that? I'll go on the rest of the night. I'll just build it from here.
All right, so he's got a space room. It's like Kremlin's all over again. Did you have more, or do you want me to go to Amanda now?
Look, if we get $6 million, we're going to get our money's worth out of the special effects this time. I'm just telling you.
So you basically just have the whole movie, the same movie, just in space.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's
I don't
funny.
see anything wrong with that at all.
All right, there's option number one. Amanda, what's your pitch?
Completely different. So I actually kind of want to make mine a little bit more of a murder mystery, kind of like a horror, not horror necessarily, but more of a thriller. So I want to take it in a much darker turn. Essentially, Tommy and Lisa are still together. They're married.
Johnny.
Why did I said Tommy?
Because Tommy's the guy.
Same person.
I'm surprised he didn't name it Tommy, honestly. Really.
I mean, he pretty much is. So Johnny and Lisa are in a relationship just like they were in the beginning, in the original film. And they are married. They live in kind of a weird, unique mansion. And there is one room in this mansion, which is why we're calling it The Room. There's a room in this mansion that if you enter it and it's during a lunar eclipse, it will actually give somebody the opportunity, not that they understand it, to be a clairvoyant. So they'll actually be able to see sort of this vision in the future, but they don't really know what it is. So the movie would start off basically giving us these scattered images. We don't really understand what it means because it hasn't come together. And as the movie progresses, we have Lisa, who is always off doing something. She's never home. We kind of think she's cheating on Johnny too, but we don't really know why, like what she's doing or what's going on. They both kind of have secretive lives almost. So we feel bad for him, but we are a little bit angry at her, kind of as basically what Tommy was trying to evoke out of us as audience members, I think. So throughout the progression of the film, we find out that she actually received one of the visions. And this whole time she's been trying to figure out what these images mean. They have numbers in them. So she's been working with her colleague, Denny or Mark, can be either one.
Can Denny float by?
100%. Maybe she works for NASA. I don't know. So she's working on this, but she is not telling her husband. The reason she's not telling him is because she's found some numbers that correlate to journals she's found in this mansion that were his grandfather's. These journals with the numbers match with the visions she's had. So then she has another one, and it turns out to be a vision of her own murder. So this whole time, it's actually been a vision of her own murder. So now she's trying to figure out what happened to her, how it's related to his family, because he's very secretive about his family. He's never really talked about it. And essentially what happens towards the end, as we realize, she sets up this plan to murder her husband because she thinks that he's the one who's trying to murder her. She has no idea but what these visions are telling her. And there's only a couple of them that she's gotten, so she has little to work with. And basically, she ends up killing her husband. She succeeds with that. And she gets we see basically after she kills him, we see that she has the same full vision that his grandfather had. And his vision was the one we saw in the beginning. So this room is not actually showing any future situations necessarily. It's kind of just an alteration and messing with their perception and how they're imagining things. So it kind of just distorts them to the point where they're either murdering someone else or killing themselves out of sheer insanity. And so she drives herself to kill her husband, and he was innocent the whole time. And his grandfather had killed himself because he couldn't figure out what it was and what these numbers meant and blah, blah, blah. So he had murdered himself. And that's why he was so secretive about his family.
That sounds amazing. But you've got one really kind of fatal flaw with that.
Uh-oh.
It sounds like that would be entertaining and good to watch. like it's almost, I don't know, a bit of Clue, a bit of Memento or something going on.
Sixth Sense or something.
Sixth Sense, yeah. It actually sounds like an entertaining movie.
Well, don't steal it, because now I'm going to go write it and make some money.
Well, it's timestamped, so you're good.
Yeah, you're good.
You're good.
All right.
You're good. Take your time with it.
Well, please, just Denny has to float by as an apparition or something.
He's part of the vision.
All right. So here's mine. Johnny's same thing. Successful banker. I'm still in San Francisco because I really want that Full House opening. I just do. I actually would like John Stamos to open the door and walk outside if we could work that out. Great job, sweet home, awesome friend of Mark, and a fiance and Lisa. She seems happy to his face, but as soon as he leaves, we find out that she's ice. I mean, she's just ice cold. She's bored, and Lisa's not a woman who handles being bored well. So Johnny's best friend comes over all the time. She's taken with him. They have an actual chemistry. I would have the affair build up through the movie, and we actually believe Mark feels he's better with her. So that way it doesn't seem so, why are you banging your best friend's woman so quick, man? I mean, at least talk it out before you make that leap. And then it would all lead to Johnny's birthday party where Denny shows Johnny pictures he took of the two of them kissing, busting them both. Johnny breaks down, lashes out at everybody. And then Johnny finds a gun. It's actually Lisa's gun. And flashes of him killing them kind of fills his eyes. Mm-hmm. And then what happens is he waits on the couch. Both Mark and Lisa walk in. They argue a bit. Johnny pulls out the gun, and we think he's going to kill them both. And instead, he kills himself, just like he did in the original movie. Mm-hmm. The twist is that this was Lisa's gun. And because of the birthday party, everybody saw all the things that she has done, the horrible things that she's done. And her prints are all over that gun. The police do not believe that it was suicide, and she ends up being arrested at the end for murder.
And was that his intention?
No, his intention was just to leave that bitch. But just to get out clean. But it ended up costing her life. She was actually happy that he killed himself. And then she got arrested. I
mean, honestly, in the original, I don't think she was really distraught either. She's over his dead body, and she's like, he might be dead, but I still have you, right? And he's like, nah, you're a bitch. You killed him. It's your fault.
Damn. All right. So, Brian, where do you want to put space travel in either one of these pitches? No, so let's vote on which version we like. It sounds like Brian really likes yours, Amanda. I don't know, but he also likes space. So,
hey, I'm telling you, the potential for having it in some sort of floating satellite space house thing is phenomenal. I'm just telling you, the opportunities there are endless, and there are so many, just as many equal opportunities just to make this as bad or even worse than the original movie.
So you're aiming for it to go lower.
Oh yeah, that's exactly what he was going for. Yeah,
you can only aim so high to aim that low. And so there's no way to go lower than, I don't think there's any way to really go lower than that. However, again, we're making it, we know it'll just filming a blank wall for an hour and a half would just about be better than this. So there's nowhere to go but up. It's just a matter of how far up you go.
So which version or which story are you committed to at this point? Would you say let's go forward with that one? Let's make that movie.
Oh, so now we're just automatically ruling mine out? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying if you're still you've heard everybody's pitch. If you're still on board yours, and then you stick with yours. We're just taking a vote to see where we go.
Yeah. That's all.
Easy killer.
No hurt feelings.
I'm going space. Oh, this is going to be a jacked up Jetsons movie. Yeah. I'm gonna have asteroids go by. I'm gonna have planets that just drifting by. Clouds. You don't have clouds in space. Clouds will be in the background, just because they shouldn't be there. And Denny is just gonna. He's just gonna. He just walks in that room. Nope. He's just gonna just drift right on by. Hi, Johnny. Oh, hi, Denny. Go get your drugs. Go get your space drugs.
You know what? I'm going to go crazy here. Hang on. I'm going to go crazy. I'm going to say I want it to be in space at a space station with this magical room, but it's Amanda's story on that space station.
What the hell just happened?
The room was on the space station, not in your mansion.
Oh my good God.
Can that be done?
I'm willing to compromise.
I think it could be done. I think
I think so too.
It's definitely, we're going to get our $6 million worth.
Oh my goodness.
Just think of the effects that we're going to use on the roof of the space station.
Exactly. It's going to be epic.
Oh boy.
Think about it. It's a married couple. They're based on the space station. So there's a reason why there's only like 6 people in the whole movie.
That's right.
So that all makes sense. And instead of a ghost, maybe it's a space ghost.
Yeah. Some sort of crazy toxic moon fumes or something that are
they go through like a meteor shower.
Yeah.
And there you go. And that's where things start where the flashes happen while she's in that room.
Yeah, that's it. A comet goes by and some comet dust gets on them and makes them a little crazy.
Gets on them.
Yeah.
All right, we'll go for it.
We're not saying that your original idea isn't better.
That one friend, there's like 4 people piling on a sled at the top of this just ridiculous hill. And you're like, okay, I'll get on it with you guys. Knowing this is the worst idea ever, but I'm on board.
At this point, I don't think either of you are looking for a serious direction, so I'm better off just hopping on board.
I'm trying to combine what the hell he's talking about with yours, which I think is a really clever idea, and I think you can do it in a space station and actually make a serious movie, but have moments where Denny floats by.
Oh my god!
I mean, here's my thing: like, I think you can make a really good movie out of the Room concept, but if you're going to remake The Room, you got to have some kind of nod.
You have to have it be ridiculous.
You got to, well, not to be a ridiculous movie, but have some nods to the ridiculousness of the original.
It's got to be ridiculous.
Well, there you go. Denny floats by randomly. Everybody else walks normal. Gravity is fine for them, but he floats.
Exactly. You got to throw in some crazy inconsistencies that are kind of subtle, not so subtle. Like, oh, okay, it makes sense people floating in space, but how is he floating when these other people are just sitting down in their space recliners?
All right.
You got to open your mind. You got to look bigger.
All right. Let's move forward.
So how does your story work again? Because I forgot what it was. I'm focused on Denny floating now.
So to quickly summarize.
Can Mom float by too? Just
with their breast cancer.
Lisa, I got breast cancer. Oh, I think I feel better now. Is that you, Denny?
Oh, hi, Mark. So essentially, the film that we're trying to create is going to be set in space.
Yeah.
With everybody floating
station.
by. Yeah.
Married couple.
Johnny
and or let's say they're married just to make it safe. Johnny and Lisa are married.
Yeah, married. And
Mark's best friend.
The couple are a little bit distant with each other. Like they seem happy, but they have their own reservations.
They're in a space station together all the time.
Yeah, they're just totally stressed out.
Through, yeah.
So
this is a story meeting right here.
The movie would start off with these weird, obscure, scattered images that
right after they go through the dust cloud,
right after they go through,
shower,
or
something.
Yeah.
Well, because you want to preface that this has happened before, so that's why you would kind of start the movie with these visions of things happening before the images.
We've got a
and
record
numbers.
in the data bank of
there
something.
Sure.
We've had an incident. We're
exactly.
checking on an incident in this area, just like they do in the space horror movies.
And so
somebody disappeared.
It's on that big screen, that giant screen with the little pushy buttons. Boop, 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 boop.
Can we have somebody say that? Yeah. Mark, get the pushy buttons now.
Stat. Play
back the old footage. Hit them pushy buttons.
So basically, she starts investigating what this could be, what these numbers mean, which can be from records in the database.
Mm-hmm.
And she gets another vision that is of her murder, and who she has to determine who's out to murder me and what is their motive.
Right. Yeah.
And
there's only so many people on the space station, so it's one of them. It's one of them.
You got to narrow it
Then
down.
she starts to think it's Johnny, so she starts plotting his death.
She plots his death because she feels all signs point to him. The numbers in my story had a correlation to his family, so she was like, it's his mansion, it's his numbers, he has to be correlated to this somehow. And so the numbers could be something that were, maybe it was his database, his sheets, his sheet logs that have these numbers on them. And so in terms of the outer space. And so she plots his death. She does.
See, we can do that. We can get there.
I'm working with you guys. So she has
in space. No one can hear Danny.
She ends up murdering him. She's successful, but then we realize that these visions have happened before. So it's not necessarily that there's ever any real threat to her life. Because
she
he was innocent.
Thought it in her head.
The visions just alter their perception
insane.
enough to make them lose their mind because they can't figure out what this is.
I like it.
And so she kills him thinking it was self-defense to try to prevent herself from being murdered. And it was really just her own.
How do we end this movie? Brian, you got an idea on how? I'm really curious to how you would end this. Now that you have this part. And so far we've got a really somewhat serious film. So other than, oh, hi, Mark.
Denny,
hey,
can
Johnny,
I join?
Do you mind if I watch? As I float by the microphone over and over. How would you wrap this up? Would she then kill herself, or do you just end with her realizing her mistake and then fade to black?
Have her standing in like an airlock or something. I don't know. And then maybe leave it kind of ambiguous. Maybe you hear the airlock open. Maybe is that the airlock opening, or is it maybe the door closing where she went back in the ship or something? I don't know.
Ooh.
Dumping the body or committing suicide. Don't know what she's doing.
I like it.
I like the ambiguous nature.
Yeah.
You just see her standing in an airlock and reaching for a button or something, and
the pushy buttons.
Yeah, the push-up, the big push-up, the big red pushy button.
Oh yeah.
It's always a big red pushy button with a plastic cap over it.
And then all you hear is, "What are you doing, Lisa?"
I wish there was visual for everyone listening to this to be able to see you float by your microphone.
Oh my God, my hands are flying around like a crazy Italian woman right now.
Oh, that's a great. I think we got a movie.
We somehow made that a movie.
See, it can be done. Anything.
Teamwork
can be
makes
done.
the dream work with the dream team.
It's still better than the one that was made somehow. I don't know how.
It is.
Oh, okay. Well, we've got a movie. Who should direct it? Amanda, Brian, either one of you? I've got. You know what? I've got a director.
I've got 3 different directors. They are all completely different. So
I've only got one.
I've only got one. But let me throw mine.
You go ahead, Aaron. Go ahead.
Because you guys both had your ideas. Let me throw something out.
Yeah.
Jeez, give me a minute. Ben Affleck. I want Ben Affleck. Because I like Ben Affleck. I think he's a very talented director. And he's obviously not going to be doing Batman much longer. So he's free.
He's quite the package.
Somebody was paying too much attention to 3D Justice League.
Yeah.
I didn't see it in 3D. That's the problem.
That's the problem. It just attacked me. You're tearing me apart, Ben.
You didn't need to. It was
Exactly.
God.
All right, that's mine. Amanda, who's your one?
I had John Fawcett, who is the director of the TV show Orphan Black, which I thought with the obscurity could work really well.
That's really cool. Good idea. All right, Brian, you've got 12 or something. So
Tell me which one of these 3 you like the best.
okay.
Because it's because this is just a screwed up movie, and it's one that hopefully nobody will like. Darren Aronofsky.
No. Veto.
Okay. This could be a little, especially the space thing might be a little too, but Seth MacFarlane. He could bring the snarkiness, the humor. He'd be great at the tosses too, the winks towards the original.
The nods, yeah. Okay.
And the absolute most batshit crazy one, Baz Luhrmann.
I'm Baz Luhrmann all the way.
It would be beautiful.
Moulin Rouge.
Yeah, it would be beautiful. I'd probably too much singing for my taste, but it would be absolutely stunning. even with a $6 million budget. Or it is a little bit later. We might get $8 million nowadays.
I'm going to go with Ben Affleck.
I was going to go with yours, but all right.
Well, we can go with mine too if you want.
Too late. We're on Ben Affleck. All right. Boom. All right, so who's going to play Johnny in this?
Jake Gyllenhaal.
It's a good choice.
Patrick Dempsey. He's got the hair. He's got the hair.
Oh, my God. Brian, you are actually trying to make The Room again. You're not remaking it. You're like, I just want to make The Room
He wants
again.
to make a 15-year updated version.
My pick was Matt Damon, and I got to explain why.
Oh, goodness.
Is because the reason the character's name is Mark is because Tommy Wiseau loved the actor Matt Damon. He just heard his name wrong, so he named him Mark thinking Matt Damon's name was Mark. True story. Yeah. He heard the actor. He loved him as an actor from Talented Mr. Ripley and stuff, but thought he heard his name as Mark, not Matt. So Mark was supposed to be an homage to Matt Damon.
So that entire song where it's like, I'm effing Matt Damon, he was like, I'm effing Mark Damon.
Yeah. In his head, yeah.
That poor soul.
So that's my nod to Tommy Wiseau. Now, one of you guys can decide. Like, who do you want? I'm fine with anybody, honestly.
Pretty flexible.
Did you give an actor, Brian?
Oh, did you give me flex? Yeah, he said Patrick Dempsey.
Oh, I didn't. I thought that was, sorry. I thought that was a joke, but it was real.
Wow. Somebody's writing a letter, too.
I'm sorry. I can't keep track of what's real and what's not in here anymore.
That's the idea. Keep you guessing. You just don't know what this movie's about or who's in it. We could change the actor midway, and maybe nobody would even know.
Didn't half the cast quit in the original one halfway through the movie?
Yeah, I think so.
So we could just have that and then swap out all of the actors.
You know what? I'm going Patrick Dempsey. Hey, you got a cut. You could throw it out there if you like. I'm with it.
You know what? I want Jake Gyllenhaal, so I'm going to cut.
You're missing a great opportunity right here.
Yeah, you are.
You are.
You just like vision.
Have Patrick Dempsey be Denny and float by.
Ooh.
You know, in fairness, the space thing was a huge pill for her to swallow, so I'm fine with it.
I kind of like the idea of Patrick Dempsey being the guy
I'm cool
floating
I'm cool
by.
with that.
Like he's Denny. Did you guys watch Grey's Anatomy?
And that's exactly why he's in space. He's like, I can't do cars anymore. I got to be in space.
That's awesome. All right. Anybody?
Less things to hit out here.
Anybody for Lisa? I've got a Lisa. I'm pretty proud of this one.
I had one, but it was just one that worked really well with the director and the storyline that I had, which was Tatiana Maslany.
Oh,
is that how you say
Orphan
it?
Black again.
Yeah.
So basically, have you been watching Orphan Black?
I've actually never seen the show.
Oh, she's a great actress.
But I have seen her in
she does
other
not
stuff.
deserve a movie like this. She deserves so much better.
She is talented. Well, to be fair, I came up with a serious story, so I came up with serious actors.
No, Brian did too, obviously. Yeah. Brian, who's your actress? Bette Midler?
Helen Mirren. No. Anna Faris.
You know what? I could work with that.
That's pretty good.
What was your one that you were proud
mine
of?
was Zendaya.
Oh, I really like her.
Yeah.
Isn't that the girl that played guitar for Michael Jackson?
No. She played Peter Parker, like she was in Spider-Man Homecoming.
Oh, okay.
She's also she's coming out in the Greatest Showman movie.
Yeah. I mean, I like her because she's young, which makes it a bit creepy, you know, from the beginning.
Yeah, because we don't have enough of that in the news right now.
Yeah, so I'd like a little more of that. But she's very charismatic, and I'd like to see her go dark. I think she'd be fun. So Zendaya was my choice.
I'm really down with that. Brian, what do you feel?
I'm cool with it.
Okay.
All right. Zendaya and who was it? Patrick? No, it wasn't Patrick Dempsey.
No,
it was
Jake Gyllenhaal.
No, we got blocked.
Dempsey Dempsey is Denny, and he's gonna float by with his hair, and his hair is just gonna like swimmer a little bit.
It's just floating around like just some kind of weird lion that's on crack or something, just floating around.
You think he's free? You think we can get him? I don't.
Oh, I'm sure he's got some kind of musical thing lined up with some Disney type studio.
Did you guys see Can't Buy Me Love? I used to have a career. Oh, hi, Mark. All right, that's enough of me bouncing around the microphone.
What's bothering you?
Any nostalgic moments that have to be in this movie? Any like nods, direct or subtle nods to the original that have to be in here, Brian?
Yeah, I'm sticking with the space thing here. But this is actually a note I had earlier, just praying that we made the space thing work because I didn't think that you guys would go for it. Dumbasses. The football tossing in Zero Gravity. They're tossing the football.
Yes.
And then just at whatever point the scene ends, they just walk away from it and the football is just still floating away.
Yes. And it explains why they're within 4 feet of each other.
Right.
I love it. We're solving problems. Yeah.
Oh, boy.
I love it. I love it. I got to have a doggy randomly somewhere. I don't care where it is. I just got maybe a statue of a dog is just laying there and he just walks by and taps it on the head and says, "Hi, doggy." You got to have that.
All right. I'm good with that. What you got, Amanda?
The line 2's great, but 3 is a crowd from that awkward sex moment with Denny and Lisa and Johnny.
I'm in.
I'm cool with that, too.
I feel like we should throw in "What a Story." I feel like we would.
No, you got to have "Oh, hi, Mark." If you're going to have a quote from the movie, it's "Oh, hi, Mark."
Well, I feel like we should incorporate all of these quotes.
Yeah. "You're tearing me apart, Lisa." Does that need to be in here?
Yeah.
Oh, that could be. Oh, yeah. Somebody actually being physically torn apart because the suction from space is just actually ripping them out as they hold on to the handles because they can't get to the big red pushy button. Yeah.
Or maybe when she's killing him, he's talking about how you're tearing me. She's accusing him of everything, and he says, "You're tearing me apart, Lisa."
I don't know. Brian's idea is really catching me.
You
right
guys
there.
are so ridiculous. I give up. Let's go with the most ridiculous idea. Go ahead.
Like his fingers start coming off and his leg pops off. And he's like, "You're tearing me apart, Lisa."
From a production nod, I want the cameras to just fix their position mid-scene like they did about a half a dozen times in this movie.
I'm in.
All of us, all of a sudden the camera just jiggles to the right or to the left as it's trying to get to where it should be.
I like it.
Just like, it's like, shouldn't you have set up the camera before you said roll? I don't know.
This might be just as bad a movie. I'm just letting you guys know that there's a possibility. But I think we can salvage it, Amanda. I think it'll be a good movie based on your story idea that you might want to pitch to another studio before we can get this made. Because there's a good chance we don't have contracts. What's that?
I'm telling you, we could get this movie made.
If it's Jake Gyllenhaal and I get to sit in a room with him and talk to him, then you guys can make whatever story you want.
Oh, boy. All right. Well, here's one more clip from the original, The Room.
What are you doing?
None of your business.
You're my future wife. What are you doing, Lisa?
Leave her alone, man. She doesn't want to talk to you.
Since when do you give me orders?
Since Lisa changed her mind about you. Wake up, man. What planet are you on?
I think you should leave right now, Mark.
Don't spoil it. We were just having fun.
Don't worry about it, man. Right?
Don't touch me, mother. Get out.
Stop it! Stop it!
Girl alone.
You two are acting like children.
Son of a bitch.
You're gonna ruin the party.
If you keep your girl satisfied, she will come to me.
Get out my house. I kill you. I bring him in full
Hey,
body.
stop it!
I kill you, you bastard.
You could kill me if you tried.
You betrayed me. You're not good. You're just a chicken. Chip, 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 chip. Shut up. It's over. Trey, shut up. It's cool. Shut up. It's over. It's not over. Everybody betrayed me. I fed up with this world.
Okay, you guys ready to hear what we came up with in movie trailer form?
Oh boy, am I ever.
Heck yeah.
I hear excitement from one party. I'm not feeling it from the other one. But here it is from courtesy of MediaVoiceovers.com. This is Wayne Henderson telling you all about our new movie, hopefully coming next summer, starring Jake Gyllenhaal and Patrick Dempsey.
And Zendaya.
And Zendaya.
Don't leave her out.
Take it away, Wayne.
Space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of Johnny and Lisa as they boldly go where no movie has gone before. Oh, hi, Mark. Where was I? Oh, yeah. Johnny and Lisa are taking part in a deep exploratory mission in space. Lisa is a woman living a frustrated, secretive life. After a brief brush-up with what at first seems like meteor debris, she begins experiencing visions. Are they flashes of what's to come? Is Johnny coming to kill her? Anyway, how's your sex life, Mark? Lisa becomes paranoid and orchestrates a murder in her mind. Self-defense against the inevitable. But are these visions of the future or the ravings of a lost soul? Find out as director Ben Affleck tasks Jake Gyllenhaal, Zendaya, and Patrick Dempsey with the unenviable task of remaking a film most dared never attempt. Next summer, prepare to return to a world no one thought we would dare visit again. It's time to enter the room.
Great job. Great job.
Woo! Somehow Wayne salvaged that.
I think it's going to be a great movie. I don't care what you say. We've got some listener thoughts on The Room. Mike Jasko says, I try to watch this movie all the time. I get 20 minutes in, and that's it.
Man, how often is all the time?
Once would be
I felt
good.
bad enough for sitting here by myself watching it once.
Nate Bruce, there's a lot of ammo to make fun of with this one. Favorite moment when everyone told Lisa that you're wrong and you should tell Johnny, and her response was always, I don't want to talk about it. Manuel Perez, really, really, really bad, but fun to make fun of. Can't watch this sober.
That's accurate.
Yeah, that's accurate. Let's see. And Corey Metcalf, there's no point remaking this. It's a terrible story. Wrong, Corey. Wrong. We just made it better.
Just wait till you hear this.
It was so much better. And Troy Heinrich said, this should be interesting. As it was. All right, guys. Well, that does it for this final. Well, we still got one episode. We're going to do a best of trailers coming up. But this is the last regular episode of season 3 of Remake This Movie Right. Is there anything, Brian, what have you been up to, man? Anything you want to say to the peoples?
No, not really. Just been doing my thing, man. Working. Got a couple of pretty big changes coming up here pretty soon. Not ready to quite broadcast that just yet.
Gonna launch your own podcast?
Yes.
Excellent.
Only if you record it.
and do the editing.
And edit and
and write the format
and
and everything else.
Do the format, right. Guest host every week.
I'm your
all
spot.
over it.
All right, Amanda, what about you? Where can people find you?
Well, you can find me on other episodes of Remake This Movie Right. I've also been doing a couple things for the Hollywood Outsider here and there. So if you have caught Justice League, I was on the reactions cast for that through the Hollywood Outsider. So you can take a listen to that. Also, if you want to go back a little bit further, I did host an episode on the Hollywood Outsider. It was an all ladies episode. It was quite an interesting episode. Thanks, Brian. Did you actually listen?
I actually did.
Oh, man. He actually does like me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so that was a good time. So you can catch me on those episodes, and maybe there will be something else in the future for you guys to look forward to if you like hearing this voice. And
if there is, there will be a preview in this feed. So
absolutely.
You'll be notified when it comes alive, when Johnny Five's alive. All right, well, you can find me at the Hollywood Outsider every week. You can find me here, Remake This Movie Right. You can find me on The Blacklist Exposed. If you watch The Blacklist, you can find me on Beyond Westworld if you do that, and maybe another thing coming up. But that means I'll have to quit something else. So we'll figure out what the heck I'm going to do. I got to have more free time, right? I got to enjoy my life like Brian's doing. You can subscribe and review us via Apple Podcasts. We're on Spotify now, so that's pretty cool. And so thanks, Spotify, for accepting us, because I know they don't want to accept everybody, so that's very cool.
Very, very cool.
Very cool. And our email is remakethismovieright@gmail.com. It's remakethismovieright@gmail.com. We're on Twitter @RemakeRight, and our website is remakethismovieright.com. The credits have rolled in this remake, but be sure to come back for our next one. Remember that every film you love will get a reboot someday, and only you can remake this movie right. Such a stupid movie.
It's the best worst movie ever.
Guys, I can't wait to talk about this stupid putt. Oh, hi, my fellow cinematic architects. Welcome to Remake This Movie Right. I am your host, Aaron Peterson, and joining me today, you heard him on our Flatliners, The Birds, and Wild Wild West episodes. Amanda Sink. You heard him?
Yeah, you gonna say you heard him?
Okay, let's try that.
Yeah, let's start that over.
All right.
New introduction.
You're tearing me apart.
You're tearing me apart, Lisa.
Shut it. It's too early.